there is no doubt that we're seeing the rise of Ghost, but it's just through this man here, Tariq St Patrick, and whether he likes it or not, there's clear parallels from his character and Ghost's, and we're seeing something being played out which in a few years could have Tariq on top of the game, just like his father, but he hasn't tapped into his full potential yet. I'm talking how and why we're seeing the rise of Ghost through Tariq, so welcome back to MovieBot and let's talk the rise of Ghost, or should I say Tariq St Patrick. So yesterday I released a video talking about how the chess game has begun, so if you missed it then I'll leave a link to it down below in the description and in the comment section, and I said I'd be speaking about Tariq and Kane, and that video is coming up this week, but a lot of you mentioned the parallel of Tariq and Ghost in the comment section of my last video, and well over the last few weeks, and I've been itching to talk about this topic for a few weeks now, but I really wanted to wait until the mid-season finale so we got to see more smart plays from Tariq and more parallels from his character and Ghost. So I'm talking all about how this show of Power Book 2, we're seeing the rise of Ghost through Tariq St Patrick. But if you're new to the channel, welcome to MovieBot, and if you want to see more videos like this, then remember to smash the subscribe button. And I know this is a sensitive topic because some of you may have differing opinions, and that's okay too. If you do have a different opinion, then comment down below and let me know what your opinion is, because I love a good debate. But with that being said, let's talk about the parallels between Tariq and Ghost, and why I think, as well as many of you, that we're seeing the rise of Ghost through Tariq St Patrick. Now both Ghost and Tariq have grown up with the exact same mentor. They were taught the way of the streets by Kanan at a similar age too, and Ghost in fact caught his first body around the same age as Tariq. Kanan taught Tariq the game of chess at Breeze's old apartment, and we've been seeing a lot of moves being played out in Power Book 2 where Tariq seems to always be 2 steps ahead of his opponent. He's thinking strategically, and as goes as far as saying he has the confidence and the little arrogance just like his father did. Ghost thought strategically and was always 2 steps ahead of his opponents. For example, just look at Milan's execution, and Tariq is more like his father than he even thinks. Even if he may not want to be, he is. Ghost always used to tell those who were close to him the less they knew the better, and when Tariq was talking to Brayden in just the last episode, he said a similar thing to Brayden, the less he knows the better, and Tariq is really more like Ghost than he even knows. Already in the first and second episode, we've seen 2 people tell Tariq he's just like his father, first from Simon Stern, and secondly from Uncle Gabe when they were at Ghost's funeral, and we saw a real smart play for him in the second episode. We know Tariq is really book smart. I mean shit, even Jabari is copying his words now for his next book, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about that as well, because that's not the last we've seen of Jabari copying Tariq's work, so I'm going to be making a video on that soon. But with Tariq at Ghost's funeral, now this is where Tariq really stepped up, and he really is smart with the choice of words, because on one hand we had Davis McLean who wanted Tariq to speak ill of his father, and on the other hand we had Simon Stern who wanted Tariq to give Ghost a glowing send-off. But what did Tariq do? Well, he did both in a really subtle way. His speech was really cryptic, and from that moment on, we knew it wasn't the last of the smart moves that we'd be seeing from Tariq. And while we're on the second episode, let's not forget about how we realized that Frank was a snitch, which even took Monet by surprise when Kane told Monet that Tariq said he was a snitch, which later led her to trying to get information on him from Dru, Diana and Zeke. And I'm coming to that in just a moment, but when Tariq told Kane that Frank was a snitch, he really put Kane in his place, and from this moment on, we knew that Tariq could outmaneuver Kane anytime he likes. And again, I'm going to come to Kane and Tariq later on in the video. But Monet instantly realized that there's more than what meets the eye with Tariq St Patrick, and they finally came face to face in the third episode when Zeke set up the meet in their room at Stansfield. Tariq asked Monet how long does it take her to make this sort of money, because he only made this in a couple of hours on campus, and he tells Monet that if she works with him, nobody will ever know her name, and this is where Tariq is talking Monet's language, and he even tells her that she knows the risks of running the business in the streets because they're always going to have a price to pay. And well, this set up perfectly for what we saw in episode 4. Episode 4 was titled The Prince, and if you've noticed, each episode has been taken from a book name which sets the theme for that episode, and this episode Tariq was the prince. He described the book as it shows how people get what they want in the most efficient way. People are always going to want your spot, and the prince shows that no matter how much power or money a person may have, they're still going to want to come for your neck regardless. So he said that it's better to address your competition head on rather than wait for them to storm the castle, and that's exactly what Tariq did in this episode. Everything was literally related back to the title, The Prince, and the way he described the prince, he got exactly what he wanted in the most efficient way, which was the way he was selling drugs at Stansfield by creating Course Correct, the tutoring app which he'd be using to sell his drugs at Stansfield. And this was the efficient way, which was such a smart way of Tariq selling drugs, and like he said to Monet that nobody will ever know her name, with this app, nobody knows that it's Tariq behind it either apart from Brayden, who now is his right hand man, just like Tommy was for Ghost. And the second part of how Tariq described the prince, it's better to address your competition head on rather than wait for them to storm the castle, is when he got his competition to get into a bust up with Brayden, knowing that Brayden's surname Weston will get him kicked out of Stansfield. And there you have it, Tariq is on top of his castle, as he described through the prince, and he stood on top and looked over his empire, reminiscent of the way Ghost used to stand over his empire at Truth. As I said before, he really is more like his father than he even knows. And well, I touched on it before, it was in episode 4 where Dru was sent to Stansfield to get information on the way Tariq worked and any information he could get from Monet. But the minute he walked in, Tariq knew why he was there, and it was the exact same case with Diana in the last episode when she was sent by Monet to get information. Tariq later said to Monet that he knew that she sent Dru and Diana, but he gave them nothing, and Monet asked why he backed Dru up, and this was again another smart play from Tariq, because with everything Monet was throwing at him, it was all tests and he passed with flying colours. But here's the thing, has Tariq met his match with Monet? Because Kanan also taught him that the best thing to do is let your enemy think they're on top when you're really 2 moves ahead in the game. You see how everything relates back to chess? Well, Monet seems to be playing chess too. She wants information from Tariq and she's doing exactly what Kanan taught Tariq. She's keeping a close eye on him, but with Tariq already learning the way from Kanan, he'll know exactly what Monet's play is. And well, I spoke about Tariq outmaneuvering Kane, and this is exactly what played out in episode 5 when Monet told him to give Tariq his piece. But again, I believe Monet is just testing Tariq. She kept eyes on how Tariq was handling himself when Kane gave him his piece, and she'll know exactly that Tariq has pulled a trigger or two. But now Monet considers Tariq as family. Tariq is actually the son that Monet has always wanted. He's smart, he knows the streets because he was taught by Kanan, he can handle himself, and he's loyal to those who works with Monet, and Monet respects this. But here's the thing, sooner or later Tariq will want to be at the top of the game, and he's gonna have to do exactly what Ghost did with Breeze, and that's to kill Monet. And only then will Tariq realize how much he's like his father, because he's gonna have to do the exact same things his father did to get to where he wants, and killing Monet is something I feel Tariq will have to do, just like Ghost did with Breeze. And I don't know whether you guys noticed, but I noticed it on my second watch of episode 5. Just look at the clothes Tariq is wearing at his party, and then look at the clothes he's wearing when he went to go visit Rainer and Ghost's grave. Tariq actually went home and got changed into a suit. Now, could he have played his biggest and smartest move yet in setting up Cooper Saxe with the recording he got? There are definitely parallels to Ghost, and well, if you want to say Ghost and Tommy, then you can go as far as saying Brayden is his version of Ghost Tommy. But one thing is for sure, Tariq has a long way to go to achieve what Ghost did. But there's no doubt we are watching the rise of Ghost through Tariq St Patrick, and as much as Tariq wants to deny he's nothing like his father, he is becoming exactly like him. And whether Tariq can surpass Ghost is another question, and only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Tariq hasn't tapped into his inner Ghost yet, and when he does, this story will be complete. So this video is only part 1 of the rise of Ghost, and just like in the name of Power Book 2 Ghost, Tariq's story is the rise of Ghost.